Well, there's no doubt about one of the stories in recent times in terms of football clubs in England. That is the progression of AFC Bournemouth. Used to be called Bournemouth and Boscombe United. That's a bit of a mouthful for the commentators these days. They won the championship. They're in the Premier League. Extraordinary.
It's a fairy tale, isn't it? Through into the path of Josh King. King bearing down on goal. Absolutely superb from Joshua King. He scored. Bournemouth back in front.
So, hello there everyone and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time, finally, for the first episode of our FIFA 18 career mode here with Bournemouth. As you can see, I'm pretty much buzzing, to be quite honest with you. I've been waiting for ages to be able to start a new career mode series on this channel, because it's just always so exciting being able to actually get into a save on YouTube, etc. I hope you guys enjoyed that intro that I made for this video. If you did, then, I don't know, let me know, slap a like on the video, subscribe as well if you're new to the channel, because obviously there'll be a lot more FIFA 18 content coming, if you enjoy, of course. But obviously by now, you'll be pretty much aware that we're going to be using Bournemouth for this career mode save. You can see their board expectations in the background. Pretty low pressure, to be quite honest with you. 4 lows and a very low in terms of their expectations of us. Everything is low apart from youth development, which is very low. Although if you know me on this channel, you'll know that I do quite like investing in the youth, so we'll still probably use youth academies and also buy young players. One thing as well, if you don't know about me on this channel, is I tend to buy quite obscure players as well. You'll probably have heard of some of the players we buy, but a lot of the other players we buy you won't have heard of. Bournemouth is a team that I think everyone has a little bit of a soft spot for, just because of the way they entered the fray when it comes to the EPL, because obviously they, from the trailer you might have guessed, but back in 2009 they played Grimsby Town. They needed to win in order to stay in the entirety of professional football in England, and they did it thanks to that goal that you saw in the trailer. So I did give you guys a chance as well to give me some transfer targets on a video revealing that I was going to be using Bournemouth for my FIFA 18 career mode, so we're going to be using some of those and hopefully bringing in some players today. So as always, when it comes to a new career mode save, the first thing we've got to do is take a look at the pre-season tournament invites. It's pretty simple, and yeah, arguably the first one on the left here has got the easiest teams and the most prize money. I still don't think we'll win it because we've got Wolfsburg and Leipzig in it, but we're going to go for the European International Cup. And that was called, I don't know, I don't read these things. It was based in Germany. Here you can see the new breaking news screen as well on the right hand side. There we are, our manager looking forward for an opportunity on the international stage. And we've also signed Nathan Ake, who is going to be one of the fundamental players, I feel, for this series. Speaking of which, you might as well take a look at the team, I guess, whilst we're here, and the players that we're actually going to be using. Now, these ratings are actually different to the ones that EA released for Bournemouth. Jermaine Defoe, obviously, here on the bench. We'll slap him in instead of Benik Afobe, but this really is how the team is looking. Fraser and Pugh as the wingers. The wingers is definitely somewhere we can improve. We have got Jordan Ibe, whose potential is probably likely to be around about 80. Lewis Cook as well, someone to watch out for. We'll put him on the bench because he's got a very high potential. Barring that, though, there isn't a huge amount of depth in this side, and that's something we are going to have to work on, as well as bringing in quality players. We do need to improve the depth in this squad as well, apart from up front, because when you look at the strikers, we've got obviously Defoe, Josh King, Benik Afobe, and Callum Wilson, and Lise Musée as well on the bench, so that's alright. Central mid, we've got a bit of depth, but probably not enough quality, and wingers-wise, we haven't got depth or quality. Defence, Ake obviously will be around for a while. Steve Cook's got a good overall, but Smith and Daniels can be improved upon. So if you're wondering about Bournemouth's budget, it's actually pretty healthy. It's £36.4 million basically, although I imagine with the way the transfer market has gone this summer that basically every player on this game is more expensive, so I guess it's all relative. In terms of board expectations as well, youth development, sign one player in your youth academy assigned to the midfielder position. Brand exposure, keep a streak of at least 85% attendance in 5 consecutive home matches. I will try, you know, I don't know how I do that. Obviously continental success, there isn't any. Finish mid-table in the Premier League, that should be doable, I feel. In the Emirates FA Cup as well, it reached the round of 16 stage, again, probably doable. And also financial, within 3 seasons increase the club worth of your club by 20%. Now obviously by now I'm sure you guys will be aware of the big new feature coming into career mode this year, and although it's not fundamentally changing the game, it does at least make things a little bit spicier for a while anyway, and that is the cutscenes that we now get in transfer activity. So when you're buying a player, you actually physically meet the manager, go through negotiations, and then you obviously meet the agent and the player for sort of contract negotiations, which is quite cool. You're going to be seeing some of that in this video because we are going to be making some bids and trying to sign a player or two in this one, and at the end of the video there'll probably be some sort of position that I'm wanting to strengthen, and I'll let you guys vote on which player out of maybe 3 or 4 that you want me to sign. Okay, so one actual other new thing about this game, which actually I really like, it organises everything a lot easier, and this is the squad hub. So this is another opportunity to see the players that we've got and the sort of depth in the squad that we've got, and also who's out on loan, as well as their morale, their role, and their contract as well, which is really easy and nice, so that's cool. This, however, is the way we're going to be selling players, because there are quite a few players in this team that we really don't need at this point. So here then is the final transfer list, and it's not actually that extensive in comparison to what I thought it was going to be. Maybe I'm a little bit too easy on some of these guys. I was considering putting Andrew Sermon on there as well, but until we find a significant amount of central midfielders we can actually afford to buy, it's probably best to keep players like that who are at least 75 overall. But you can see Mark Pugh here, Reece Wiggins, Dan Gosling and Brad Smith are on the transfer list. Whilst we're on the topic of transfers as well, this is the shortlist that we've got going on. It's pretty extensive, I'm not going to lie, so I'm going to skip through it pretty quickly, but you can see the positions that we need to improve on. I've definitely focused on defenders here rather than strikers, etc. We've got Almami Toure here from Monaco, Dominic Iorfa, Amian Adu from Toulouse, Arit Elustondo from Sociedad and Mitchell Weiser as well, Joris Nanon and Benzabaini, Rami Benzabaini from Stade Rennais. If that's his name, and that's actually how it's pronounced, and brilliant. Soyuncu as well, Diakabe and Callum Chambers, as well as Andres Christensen. Those two probably on loan, realistically, if we're going to bring them in. Dali Sinkgrav and Ryan Sessegnon, Gislan Conan and Chait Keita as the left backs. This guy is actually very good. His potential is actually quite high, so watch out for him. Dendonka, Ronaldo Vieira from Leeds, Maite from Monaco, Santa Maria from Angers, Maya from Lyon, from Lille even, Ikone, Villena, Bishop, Linetti, Damari Gray as well from Leicester is on here, Peter Atebo from Santa Maria de Ferreira. We've also got George Kevin Nkudu, Marcus Coco, Rafinha, Demerbe, Amiri, Harrison, and the rest. You can see all of them. I didn't even need to read them out, realistically. You could have just read them yourself, but we haven't got any of the overalls on these guys because they're not scouted. So this is an unfortunate one. Ryan Sessegnon from Fulham was actually going to be, I'd already planned it in my head, was going to be the first signing that we made in this career mode because he was suggested multiple times in the comment section on the reveal video. He's someone that would be quite realistic because he's an English youngster from a lower division, and Bournemouth tend to go for players like that. But unfortunately, despite having been at the club definitely for longer than a year, even in FIFA terms, Fulham don't want to sell him because they've only just signed him apparently, which is unfortunate because it's not actually the truth. But we are, however, going to move on to a similar player, and hopefully we get a bit more luck here. Indeed we do. Ronaldo Vieira, who on FIFA 17 I think was 68 overall and had about 84 potential. So let's hope that he's pretty similar here. We've met up with, I think, Leeds' manager here. Yes, I think we have. We've met up with Leeds' manager, and this is how it's going. Oh, I love this. I like this already. This is cool. If you don't mind, allow me to start with an initial offer. Yes, yes. We're gonna. Can I skip this? Offer transfer fee. I suppose we could do a player swap actually with Dan Gosling, but I think Ronaldo Vieira is probably worth less. £2 million bid, and we'll see what Leeds say about that. Because this guy is gonna be a future good player. He's not gonna get into the first team now, but it provides depth in that holding midfield position. If we're gonna sell Dan Gosling, then we're gonna need someone to step in and replace him who's young and exciting. We want to sign Ronaldo Vieira of Guinea-Bissau for £2 million. Can we agree on that? What's what's being said in return. I think that's a fair offer. We're happy with that. That means I've overspent. If they accept your first transfer fee, it means I've definitely overspent. I can imagine people at home watching were screaming for me to offer like 1 mil or something, but our first transfer negotiations are a huge success. Now, this is the formation that I've been told to play by the game. I assume it's the formation that Bournemouth use in real life, but with the amount of strikers that we have in this team, I think it would be stupid to play a team with 1 striker. I want to know whether you guys think I should be playing 2 up front or 1 up front, because even though we're unlikely to play the first Premier League game of the season today, I want to know what I'm going to do going into the first game of the season, and quite frankly, I don't know what I'm going to be doing tactically going into that first EPL game. Alright, we've had an email from young Ronaldo Vieira. He's really pushing forward things. He's fed up of his Leeds teammates. He doesn't want anything to do with them anymore, and he's really asking that we get on with negotiations. So don't worry, this isn't the only guy that we're going to actually make a bid for in this episode, because we drastically need wingers before the start of the Premier League season, so we're definitely going to be making some bids for some wingers who are definitely going to improve the side. Probably some defenders as well. But for now, let's go into negotiations, player negotiations, contract negotiations with Ronaldo Vieira. So here's the cutscene. Ronaldo Vieira is sat in his lovely suit. He's doing well at 18 to be able to afford a suit like that. Yet we're just going to end the negotiation straight away. Don't see why not. Right, okay. Squad, oh, that's easy. Yeah, we can do that. He'll probably play more than that. Sporadic is his squad role. That's what he's demanding. Okay, yeah, safe. Yeah, we'll accept that. Look at him. He's beaming. Ronaldo Vieira's very happy with that news. Now we've got to put an offer forward. Realistically, for a young kid like this, who I'm pretty confident is going to be, you know, a good player in the future, we might as well slap 4 years on the table. I feel like he's either going to ask for 4 or 5. He's not going to want a 1-year contract, realistically. Should I call him Ronaldo or should I call him Vieira? I don't even know. But he's happy. Whatever his name is, he's happy with what we're bidding, so that's fine. Now, he wants a release clause. No. He wants a, no. 5.3 mil? Are you mad? They'll bid for that next Tuesday, mate. I'm not accepting that. No, fam. Counter. Not having any of that. Right. If we're going to put a release clause... No, I don't even want a release clause. Can I go back? No, deny release clause. I'm sorry, mate. It's just not... We can move forward without setting a release clause, but keep in mind we'll adjust our demand accordingly. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm guessing he's now going to want higher wages because of that. I can live with that because his wages aren't going to be that high anyway. Let's move on to the next item. So he wants 15k in wages and an additional fee of 195,000 in signing bonus. I might move that down slightly. And then appearances 5 at 75k. Let me counter that. Wage is fine. Appearance bonus is fine. But I want to just change that signing bonus just real quick. So let's change that. Let's change that to 155 and then submit that as an offer and see what they say. I know I'm being very stingy, but £40,000 could be a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. They really want the signing bonus, to be honest. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not willing to give it to them. So you can sit... Oh, I just accidentally accepted it. Oh, okay, safe. All right. Good, Niran. Well done, mate. You've done a good job there. First negotiations, and we've accidentally accepted what we didn't want. Has he signed, then? Is that officially done? This could actually be the first signing ever, and I don't even know whether it's actually happened yet. Has it happened? There we go. Boom shakalaka. Breaking news. Bournemouth sealed £2 million deal, there we go, for Ronaldo Vieira, and he's immediately making a request. Ronaldo, who the hell do you think you are, Sonny Jim? Are you mad, mate? You've just come through the door. I can send you straight back out if you're making demands like that. I feel like that's a realistic signing. I'm happy with that one. He's a high potential player, and he seems if he's going to be quite good, and he seems if he's going to fit in the squad quite well. I know he's not going to be close to getting in that starting 11 yet, but he is going to overtake people very quickly. 69 overall. Now, though, we need to switch our attention to the preseason tournament because we're now about to play our first game in that up against Spartak Moscow of Russia. We'll be hoping for a good result here. Spartak playing a relatively strong side, but not the strongest they could play, and I mean, it had to be. It was written in the stars. The the poster boy of the trailer from the start of this episode, Josh King, gives us the lead. Mark Pugh doubles our lead, the man who I'm thinking of chucking out the door as staking his claim that he should stay in the side. 2-0 is the final scoreline. Wolfsburg beat Frankfurt elsewhere in the group, and that's a very good start to the group stages here. Okay, now this is an interesting one. We've got a transfer offer here for Junior Stanislas from Huddersfield of £3.6 million. I'm not going to lie, Junior Stanislas is a good player, and I prefer him to Mark Pugh on this game, but he's 73 overall, and he's going to stay at 73 overall, so I'm not going to just flatline reject this, I am going to negotiate. So, propose new transfer fee. If we got £6 million for a 73 rated 27-year-old, I'd be very happy, no matter how much I actually have a soft spot for Junior Stanislas. That would be a very, very good one. So I'm going to submit that, see what he says. I know he's not going to flatline accept it, but he might then offer like 5.5, which I would accept. That hasn't gone well. That hasn't gone well. Oh, it's Huddersfield's rep, not their manager. Oh, why do I look so depressed, man, in the cutscene? It's not that deep, man. We're just keeping Junior Stanislas now. It is interesting, though, that you can now actually offer something so horrendous that they just flatline leave the room. Not gonna lie, boys and girls, it is time to look at some wingers, quite frankly, and we've got some on the list. Now, we're on the transfer hub, and you just get every single piece of information about everyone ever. I mean, we look at Wilfried Zaha here. You can also see that they've actually had a bid from Spurs, and Crystal Palace have actually accepted it. So if we are going to move in for him, it's got to be very quickly. I don't think that'll happen, so that's got to obviously break down and then contract negotiations. We are also going to make a bid for some of the other guys here as well. Rafinha, supposedly, I think he's 76 overall. Now, to be 76 overall at 20 years of age, you've got to have a pretty high potential following that, so he looks like a very good player. George Kevin Nkudu, though, we're going to make an inquiry for at least, and same here for Marcus Coco, as well as Mohamed El Yunusi, who's got a £21.2 million release clause. Interesting thing about El Yunusi as well is he's a new 5-star skiller according to EA this year. Before though we get into the transfer negotiations with those guys, because that could be pretty lengthy with the amount of bids that we've got to put in, we're going to get into this second group stage match against Frankfurt, which might actually decide whether we even get into the knockout stages of this tournament. If we win it, then we pretty much are. Frankfurt lost their first game of this tournament to Wolfsburg, so if we win this, they're out. And we're through, basically, is how it works, I think, pretty much. Boateng, though, that's Kevin Prince Boateng, isn't it? Scored off the bench. Thankfully for us, though, Lewis Cook came off the bench himself and equalised as well, did the ex-Leeds man, and we get a point. That's not bad. Well, it's interesting times once again, isn't it? Because, again, we've got an offer for a player who, you know, is going to improve. He's not really set the world alight as Benekophobe at Bournemouth in the last year. When he first joined, he was scoring goals for fun, but regardless of that, we've got a bid from Crystal Palace of £7.4 million. And again, he's one of those players that isn't integral to the team. He's good depth, but if we can get a lot of money for him, we can bring in a player who's arguably better for less, because we can be savvy. We are going to be optimistic again. Not that optimistic. It's not going to be 97 million, but 10 million, not 10.4, 10 million is what we're going to put on the table. I want a phobia on our team, but cannot offer more than 8.7. Are you sure about that, Roy? Are you sure about that, Roy? I'm going to push this a little bit. I'm going to submit a new offer. I want to die. I just do. I've done it again. To be fair, £8.7 million for Benekophobe is still pretty sick, but what we'll do is we'll try and bring in a striker to replace Benekophobe, a depth striker that can grow into the role, potentially. But, you know, we can bring in a more exciting striker now. That's the positives, and we're going to have 8.7 mil to do that. I'm going to delegate the player purchases. You've already seen me, you know, making some deals for some players. When it comes, we'll go through the cutscene process when it comes to contract negotiations, because that's a lot more complex. But when it comes to just the bidding process, I'm going to delegate all of these. So the first one is for Rafinha. Unfortunately, we don't know anything about this guy, but using my knowledge of FIFA and the transfer market on this game and on career mode usually, we're going to start the offer at 7 and don't go higher than 15. In fact, actually no, we're going to start the offer at 10. because that's way too low. 10 million is the starting offer, and Marcus Coco, I'm going to tell him to start at 13 mil and don't go higher than 18 mil. So for El Yunusi, we're going to start off with 12 mil and say don't go higher than 16. That's because his release clause is 21, so even if they don't accept that, we can at least exploit that system. And finally, for the Crystal Palace winger, Wilfred Zaha, again, we're testing the waters. All of these bids are quite low because we just don't want to overspend on these guys. Starting with 18.7 mil and then don't go higher than 23. Mixed news here from our assistant manager who negotiated with some of these guys. Basel were not happy with the initial bid that we put forward for El Yunusi, which, thinking about it, does make sense. I think he's one of the higher rated players and we bidded quite low for him because of his release clause. Gingom were actually willing to get rid of Marcus Coco for 13 mil, which is ridiculously low because I'm pretty sure he's above, I mean, he was 75 overall last year and he performed very well in real life, so I can only imagine he's 77, 78, so that's a very good, you know, that's a very good amount. So hopefully that goes through, or, you know, we can at least get some, you know, thrash out some contract negotiations, and then you guys can decide which winger that we sign. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't go ahead and do anything, because even though he literally has a release clause that we could match if we wanted to go in again, we're just not allowed to because Basel were just completely offended. So given the initial bad news when it came to El Yunusi, we are going to put in some delegated player purchase bids for a couple of other wingers, the first of which is going to be Malcolm, the Bordeaux winger from Brazil. We're also going to put forward a bid for this kid, Milot Rashica from, I think that's the Kosovan flag. He plays for Vitesse Arnhem over in the Eredivisie, 13 mil as a start offer fee, and then don't go higher than 18 mil. So it's time for the final sim game then of the group stage. Hopefully we can get a decent result out of it, and hopefully we can actually get through into the knockout stages. We're playing Wolfsburg in this one. The youngsters Mahoney and Emerson Hindman are on the bench as well. And would you look at that? The man who's for sale, Mark Pugh, he doesn't want to leave. He's literally, the analogy here is that we're trying to push him out the door with his suitcases and he's grabbing onto the door frame. He doesn't want to leave. Jermaine Defoe has equalised. The youngster Mahoney, who signed from Blackburn over the summer, is on for Ryan Fraser. Vieira is also on as well, our newest signing. Jermaine Defoe grabs a brace and it's all looking fine and dandy. Charlie Daniels even has time to miss a penalty and we beat Wolfsburg. So good news all around at the moment because we've got £1.1 million as transfer fee sort of prize money from getting into the semi-finals there of the pre-season tournament, and on top of that, the assistant manager's doing bits at the moment because he's managed to agree a fee for Milot Rashica. Vitesse were actually happy with the initial £13 million bid that we put in. So unfortunately for us, Vitoria Guimarães what did we offer for Rafinha? Because apparently they wanted £11.6 million, which I would have quite happily paid. So unfortunately that's broken down for him and for Malcolm. £18 million, it's kind of steep, but for him it's probably relatively, I mean, that probably would have been okay. But Rafinha I'm a bit disappointed about because he actually, looking at that, would have been a complete bargain. So that's a massive shame. Good news and also confusing news. So apparently we bid at 17.4. This might be incorrect. I'll have to watch it back when I edit it. You guys will know. But on that screen it says that we offered 17.4 mil for Rafinha and they rejected it, even though apparently in the email it said that they wanted 11.4. But still, apparently we can approach again in a week. So all we've got to do is wait 7 days and we can go back in for Rafinha, which is good. Also just worth pointing out that Benikafobe has now been sold for £7 million. So really begs the question who's going to come in and replace him. It's not a frantically important player that needs to be replaced, but you know, he needs to be replaced. So if you guys could let me know down in the comment section which striker you would like me to bring in for a similar sort of fee, and who you would like me to replace him with, basically. So drop that in the comment section. Who would you like to see replace Benikafobe? So it's time in for the semi-finals of the pre-season tournament. We're playing RB Leipzig. Arguably this is our most difficult challenge as of yet. You can see the squad there. Andrew Sermon has given us the lead after 18 minutes out of nowhere, because even this isn't even our strongest side, let alone theirs. And Charlie Daniels has doubled our lead. It's 2-0 just after half time, and we're basically on the verge of going through to the final. Well, we're more than on the verge of going through to the final now, because Jermaine Defoe makes it 3-0, and we're through to the final of the pre-season tournament. More prize money in the transfer kitty. There you go, an extra £2.6 million in transfer budget there for reaching the final now. Yeah, that seems legit. I don't see why not. Why would Raheem Sterling not end up at Southampton? So this is it then, the final of the pre-season tournament, and we're playing Lokomotiv Moscow. It's not Spartak. We beat Spartak actually in the group stages, and Lokomotiv Moscow have gone on to beat their city rivals as well now. So we're playing them in the final. Off the back of that result against Leipzig in the semis, I'm not going to lie, we should be able to win this, and I'd be disappointed if we didn't. However, I think our squad is a little bit weaker than it was going into that Leipzig game. Although looking at that Lokomotiv side, they are playing basically their best team, the likes of Arai and Farfan as well in the side. Denisov gave them the lead, but Mark Pugh again, grabbing his third goal of this pre-season tournament, equalises just before half-time. Smith has now given us the lead, but Arai gets one back, or Ari, the Brazilian, going into a penalty shootout, and unfortunately, we do lose 4-3 on penalty, so we won't be getting that additional, I think it was £3 million in transfer cash, but a decent effort in this tournament. Realistically, we shouldn't have even beaten Leipzig, so we've done well to get to the final. Okay, so now as you can see, we are again allowed to make bids for Rafinha, and I assume it's the same for El Yunusi, who isn't on this screen. So basically, this seems like a good time now to ask you which winger I should buy for this Bournemouth career mode. Which player would you like me to bring in episode number 2? Because we can bring in any of them. Rashika and Coco are going to be a little bit less, so bear that in mind. Bear in mind what is maybe the most realistic transfer out of the lot. And at the top right of the screen, there will be a vote deciding which player signs, and whoever wins will be signed. It's as simple as that. Whoever gets the most amount of votes will be signed. But apart from that, we are basically done for today's episode. We'll be getting into the Premier League season proper next episode, so let me know if you're hyped down in the comment section. And we'll be making, even my mouth's dead, it's 3 AM, guys, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll be making some more signings as well in the next episode. Obviously bringing in a winger, and we need to bring in some defenders and a new striker to replace Benikafobe too, so it's going to be a really action-packed one. So make sure you stick around and make sure you check it out in a couple of days at time. But if you have enjoyed this first episode of Bournemouth Career Mode, that feels so good to say, but if you have enjoyed it, then slap a like on the video and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Follow me on Twitter, handle is on the screen, @theofficialfng, links to that in the description, and you can also follow me on Instagram too. That handle will have been on the screen at various points in the video, but it's @theofficialfng as well, and links to that are in the description too. It has been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.
Yo, Massapeals. I roll out with some monsters. Looks like your team and you watchers. I do not roll with imposters. Sound like the man in the Oscars. I'm drunk off Henny and Fosters. I have a career, I am jobless. This bitch f me so hard, I might just end up unconscious. I like girls in lingerie, especially if it is crotchless. Bitch, I am the bigger picture. There is no way you can crop it.